All right, y'all, what's going on? I got a solution here for a restaurant bill. Okay, I need to make sure I have my include statement to include the IO stream because I need to output some information to the user. Using namespace std to help me with the cout statements and the int main function here with the return 0 to complete the function. All right, so inside this program, I know for sure that I'm going to need some type of input. In this case, we're not getting input from the user just yet. That's, I think, the next some of the later programming challenges are a little bit more difficult, where you ask for information from the user. That's when we'll use input. Process is basically the mid portion where you calculate some information, and then the output is where you output that information back to the user. So these are the basic 3 steps that in any program. You have some type of input, and then you process the information, and then you output the information. All right, so in this case, there's no input, so there's no input, so we're not going to use that at all. So really quick, to start off, I need a few constant variables, and they're going to be float variables. I'm going to have one called tax, and that's going to be set equal to whatever the tax amount is. Let me say 0.98, and then the tip, and then one for another constant float variable called tip, and that's going to be set equal to 0.15, and then put a semicolon to end these 2 declarations. Okay, so the constant variable is a variable that is not to be changed throughout the program. If you have this constant keyword right here, if you try to change these variables within the processing area, it's not going to let you, because you have that keyword keeps it from being changed. All right, so next thing I need to do is, let's see. Okay, so underneath the input, I'm going to have a float variable, and I'm going to call that meal charge, and that's going to be set equal to, let's say, $99.51. Okay. And I'm just going to end it right there. So the reason why I put this under input is because this is a charge that could come from the user. Like if you ask the user, hey, what's the meal charge? Imagine that they're inputting this information. That's why I put it under input, even though it's not an actual input at the terminal, which you'll see in later programs where we get that information from the user. But in this case, it's given to us. So I hard coded it into here. All right, so the processing area, I need to process some information. I need to process a variable called tax amount, and that's going to be equal to the meal charge multiplied by the tax. All right. So, and then another variable I need to process is called the tip amount, and that's going to be set equal to the meal charge plus the tax amount, which is the variable we just calculated, and then that needs to be multiplied by the tip. Okay, and the last variable that I need to create and process is called the total bill, and that's going to be set equal to the meal charge plus the tax amount plus the tip amount, like so. All right, so this is the area that so imagine we got information from the user, then we process some stuff, we calculate some stuff. We need the tax amount. The way we get that is multiply the meal charge by the tax. We need the tip amount, which first we need to add the meal charge to the tax amount and multiply that by the tip amount, and make sure you have these parentheses in there to remember the order of operations and calculating within a program. It's different from actual, writing it down with a pencil type of calculation. So you have to understand the order of operations for that. Okay, and then for the total bill, we need that meal charge plus the tax amount, which is calculated up here, plus the tip amount, which is calculated here. Okay, so that's the process information area. The next thing we need to do is output the information to the user, and we use the cout statement for that. So in the cout statement, I'm just basically going to output all this information back to the user. So I'm just going to create a new line here, and then here I'm just going to put everything in there. Meal charge equals and put a dollar amount there, equals meal charge. And I put a line break at the end. So the next thing so basically what I'm going to do is just copy this real quick, paste that down there, paste that there. Okay, so and then the next thing, so the first thing I'm outputting is the meal charge. Next thing I want to do is tip amount, and then, tax amount, and then tip amount, and then total bill. All right, so here is going to be tax amount. Next thing is going to be tip amount. And then the last thing is the total bill. Like so. And then at the end, I'm going to put another line break. All right, so this entire cout statement is one whole statement, just in multiple lines, right? So there's no semicolon until the very end right here. So that terminates, that's the end of the cout statement. So that's the output information to the user. Now, in order to see the program, I need to open a terminal. And if you have an IDE, sometimes you have a play button up here or whatever, you can run it that way. I like to do it on Visual Studio Code. So what I do is in my Explorer over here, on the file, I right click and then open integrated terminal, and then a terminal pops up. So the terminal is actually opened up in the directory that the file is in. So here's the directory, it's called C++ programming, and in there I have this file called 000.c++.cpp, and inside that file is all this information all this program that I just put in there. All right, so to compile it, basically I compile it first to see if there's any errors. So I'll say C++ and then enter the file name. Okay, no errors. Usually at that point there's errors that kick in right there. If there are any, there's none. So the next thing I need to do is run the program. So I'll say ./a.out, enter, and there's all the information that's outputted to the user.